I don't know about you guys, but have you ever owned an old ThinkPad that had a Think light? And if you don't know what that is, that would be this little thing right there. Right up top there, we got a Think light, and what that does, it's a tiny little LED that projects onto your keyboard during the nighttime, where you can use it to look at your keyboard and your notes and whatever you have right under that light. It's not that powerful, but during the nighttime, anything helps, and that little light was awesome. And that, my friends, is pretty much what the BenQ screen bar is. So let's take a look at it and see how it performs. But first, let's go ahead and get started with some unpeel therapy around the top here, and that's pretty much where you can control this thing. It's all on touch. You can customize it, you can change the brightness levels, you can change the Kelvin color, and right at the top here is where we have the ambient sensor that's going to automatically adjust your lighting levels according to your environment, or you can go full manual. And over here we have the weighted clip that we're going to be testing out on a bunch of different monitors, sizes, and styles, and this whole thing runs off USB, which is pretty awesome. But before we go ahead and set it up, let's go ahead and quickly test it out on this little power bank and seeing up close what it looks like. Alright, the cable here goes nice and snug. It's not going to move. It's perfectly set up. And here it is. It's already on. Let's go ahead and turn off the lights. Alright, so currently it's on maximum brightness. And it's going to definitely light up your setups. And that's what it looks like. I'm right now lifting it up all the way up top so you guys can get a better view of it. And if we bring it down, you can see that the light does cut off, so it's not going to be affecting your monitor. And of course, we have the temperature, and we can change the temperature like that. So we can have it blue, or we can have it as warm, whatever you like. You can all do it on this thing. And just like that, it's pretty simple. You just tap the buttons on top and you can set it up. Or you can also tap the automatic function and it will automatically adjust your brightness levels according to your environment and whatnot. Or simply turn off with the power button right over here. And lastly, before we go ahead and set it up, here's what the LEDs look like up close. So we can see that we have alternating colors of regular white LEDs and warm white LEDs alternating between each other. And that's what they look like up close. So let's go ahead, set it up and see what it looks like and how it performs on your actual desktop. Alright guys, so here it is. Check it out. It is simply stunning. I mean, it adds so much to this setup. It's insane. It's pretty much a simple light that's shining down from your monitor. It looks very nice and elegant, and it lights up your setup in a way that's pretty amazing. Right now it's like daytime outside. There's some light leaking outside from the window, but just take a look at this. It is simply awesome. I mean, it is lighting up my keyboard and mouse. My whole desk is being lit up, and I can easily read papers, you can read my keyboard, I can take a look at whatever I want simply with this light. And I can change the temperature and the brightness levels or just have it set on automatic. And it all runs off USB, and I am already loving this thing. And what I'm currently seeing right here in front of me is probably the next PC setup trend. And it's going to be one of the biggest upgrades that people do to their setups other than LEDs in the background. But I mean, this is just simply fantastic. So right now it's set up to automatic with the ambient sensor right on top. So right now I decided to go for more of a warmer look. I don't mind it, both works. And here we can change the brightness levels and see they can go pretty dim. Or you can go all the way out and see pretty much everything on your setup. I mean, my keyboard here, it's a matte finish and you can see the shine in the keys themselves. And if you go ahead and change the temperature, you can change it to blue or more of a warmer color to whatever works for you. So yeah, I'll see you guys in just a bit after I get a chance to test this thing out at night. Alright guys, so here's what it looks like during the nighttime, and I can tell you right now that this is a pitch black room, and you can clearly see that this light is doing a fantastic job at lighting up the whole table right here. It's a pretty big table, pretty decently sized, and pretty much everything almost edge to edge is covered. And the best part is it doesn't interfere with your display because it's perfectly cut off at a point where it won't be affecting the display itself. You can clearly see the shine on everything. You can put a paper, you can study and do everything here. And the best part is it's really easy on your eyes. And it's going to definitely help in those long nights when you're writing a script, doing work, whatever you're doing, you name it. This is going to be a fantastic light, and I definitely think this is worth the $100 price point. It's fantastic, it's simple, it's clean, and then if we go ahead and add an LED strip in the back, boom, just like that, you got a setup that's going to light up your whole room, your whole desk, and it's going to be really easy on your eyes. It's going to definitely get more work done throughout the night in a very comfortable manner. Alright, so now let's go ahead and move on by talking about the compatibility. If you're going to use a webcam like the C920, it's going to work perfectly fine. As you can see, the C920 has some really nice adjustments, so it's going to sit on top very nicely, no problems. And if you're going to shake a monitor, it's not going to go anywhere, so it's perfectly still, perfectly mounted on top, and it's going to work just fine. It actually looks pretty cool, very unique, and of course everything works just like as intended. Now moving on to the display compatibility, we can see that it works just fine with thin bezel displays like this Acer Predator gaming monitor. You can see that this display has some nice thin bezels, and this light doesn't interfere with that. It sits nice and flush with that. You can see my cursor right here, it's perfectly flush. So yeah, if you are worried about your thin monitor, no, don't worry, it's going to sit nice and flush without any problems. Now let's go ahead and talk about the light. Does it leak onto your display? It is light, of course it's going to leak, it's going to bounce off your table, it's going to bounce everywhere, but it doesn't interfere it like the way you think it would. So right now the light actually can rotate and you can decide where you want to point it mostly. Right now I have it pointed all the way towards me, so it's the farthest away from the display. And you can see with this bezel-less / thin bezel display that you do get some light leaking onto your display to the point where you can see those dust particles. So you can see that there's a dust particle or dirt or whatever, and of course that's going to shine. And if you go ahead and clean your display, you're not going to see that. And now if we go ahead and rotate it all the way towards the display itself, you can see that everything starts to show up. All the dust particles, all the dirt on your display will show up if you point it towards your display. Of course, it's light, it's going to do that. But it is actually pretty useful when you want to clean up your display and you're not sure if there's anything left. You can just turn the light on and shine it towards your display and just clean up everything, make sure it's perfectly clean. But yeah, overall for the light leaking onto your display, it doesn't affect your experience. I do editing and I haven't actually experienced any problems with that. It's very faint, super faint, even with the thin bezel display. Now if you go ahead and try this out on an old monitor like this NEC, it's really not going to work for you because it's not actually secure on there. And that is because you can see that this monitor has a step right here, so there's no way that this thing is going to sit flush on there. It's not going to work for something like that. You can see that it's pointing all the way into your display and it's full of dust, so that's not going to work. But for something like this 27-inch BenQ monitor with the thick bezels, it's going to work perfectly fine. It's going to sit very nicely on top, and of course in the back there's nothing to interfere like we have seen with the NEC monitor. And yes, I am in the process of reviewing this monitor. I've recently got it to complete my setup because I might get another one to replace this NEC, because this NEC, although it has some nice colors and pretty decent resolution, it produces a ton of heat, and on top of that it's not that bright. So I might be getting another one to replace it, and it might be another one of this BenQ. We'll see how it goes. Stay tuned for the review. And that is pretty much it for this video, guys. So what do I think about this thing, and is it worth its money? Well, how I see it is a bit on the pricey side, but it's all going to depend on you. If this is something that you need for your study or work or whatever project you're working on, then this is going to definitely get the job done. Because especially if you're someone who lives in a smaller room, all they have is their computer desk, well, now you have a way to make use of that space. You can move away your keyboard and mouse and get more work done, because now you have a light that is going to shine directly down to whatever you're working on. You can have your notes, you can have your books, you name it. You can have everything nicely lit across your whole table right in front of your computer screen. And that, I think, is priceless. But you can see here how well it is lit up. And yes, this was sent in by BenQ for review. So the question is, would I buy this personally if I knew about this product beforehand? Well, I would say yes, definitely yes. I am a big fan of lights, and especially for something like this, I am a big fan of it, and I absolutely love it. And with that, guys, I am going to definitely be giving this thing the Kommando stamp of approval. This thing is fantastic, and I absolutely recommend it to anyone who wants something to light up the setup to get more work done. And I'm probably going to be featuring this in a top 5 kind of video for lights, and this is going to be definitely one of them. Once again, thanks to BenQ for sending this in, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.